This video is going to dive into the second skill that you as an aspiring designer must master to go from good to great. And we're going to learn it at the hands of Emmy award-winning designer Chris Do in the second part of this Masterclass series.
If you missed the first part, go back and watch that now. But for those of you that already watched it, we're going to do a deep dive on typography and why that's such an important skill for you to master. We're talking about designers, right? So you said, how do you go from being an average designer to a great designer? And I'm going to tell you right now, you are like Superman or Superwoman. There's not a lot that you can't do, but you do have one kryptonite. And if this is your kryptonite, you're going to fall apart. And your kryptonite is typography. You know I'm going to say it. Typography. There's some misunderstanding about what typography is. People who design logotypes sometimes refer to themselves as typographers. That's not correct. And typographers are not logotype designers. These are very different skill sets. So a logotype designer is concerned about the individual combination of very specific number of letters together to create one expression. They're not worried about if the letters were reversed or in different order, whatever it is. They don't care about that. And so they spend a lot of time designing the perfect alphabet for 5 or 6 letters. That's it. And in that exact sequence. A typographer, in contrast, doesn't design the typeface. What they do is they manipulate the arrangement and layout of type, its point size, its color, its weight, in order for someone to understand ideas. It's the arrangement of letters and words on a screen or on a page or an app or something like that to communicate ideas. And sometimes the idea is to just capture your attention. And so some of the traditionalists who don't understand expressive typography say like, well, I can't read that. If its concept, if its purpose is not for you to read it, but to stop you in your tracks, to get you to decipher it, then it's met its goal. So typography, at least in my instance, has taught me everything about design. And there's a famous Massimo Vignelli quote that says, if you can design one thing, you can design everything. And I really believe that. So if typography is your Achilles heel, is your kryptonite, it means that you're uncomfortable with this. There's good news for you here. The good news is if you go through a series of rigorous exercises, things that we teach and things that have been taught to many designers, many generations before from the Basel School in Switzerland, then you will learn this thing. And it's painful to learn, but once you learn it, you can master design. And if they say that content is king, which a lot of people say, well then contrast is queen. Learning about how to manipulate contrast in point size, like big and small, in texture, smooth and rough, in weight, like extra bold and thin, understanding these relationships, a lot of negative space and deep, heavy concentration of type on a page. Learning how to use this translates into every facet of design, not just 2D design with type, but also 3-dimensional design. Once I learned how to design a poster, I could design a room, I could do interior design, I could design furniture, and all these things I've done. Anything that I can think of because I understand the formal relationship that exists when you start to put things on a page or on a screen. And this to me is a ginormous unlock. You cannot, in my opinion, be a great designer if you don't understand typography.
What I love about what you just said, and my key takeaway around this is you said the manipulation of the arrangement of letters and words for people to understand the message. At the core of that, for me, is you are not just making something pretty, you are making something that effectively communicates what you're trying to convey. What you're saying is if someone misses that mark, they're probably just good and not great. Am I hearing that right?
Yeah, in my opinion, you cannot be a great graphic designer if you're not a great typographer too. And in fact, if you look through the design annuals in typography and other international design competitions, you almost always see the people who win are the best typographers in the bunch. They understand space, they understand color and texture and contrast in creating tension and releasing tension. They know how to create primary, secondary, tertiary reads. And they also know how to do very beautiful expressive typography as well. We recently had James Victoria on our show, and he does something totally different, which is something that many of you are gonna say, well, Chris, I watched an episode, now you're contradicting yourself. No, you, my friend, are not paying careful attention enough. Right? If you think it's a contradiction. James does hand-drawn letter forms and he takes it to an art form where his scribbles, his brush marks, and his personal handwriting become so beautiful that they become art itself. Just the way that somebody is able to put ink on a page. I kind of draw a parallel to Chinese calligraphers. And if you've seen them work, it's a thing of beauty. They're using ink on a page and they don't have 2 shots at this. There's no white, there's no building up. They just draw with the strokes. And calligraphers, master calligraphers and artists can recognize the skill level from one person to another who's put in 10, 20, 30,000 hours of practice versus someone who's just starting. And they can see that. So James' primary communication thing isn't about whether you can read this easily or not. He wants you to work at it to decipher the meaning or the words that he's drawn. It's not illegible, but it does require some work. But in that instance, you stop and you try to figure it out. And when you can figure it out, a smile happens, at least in your mind. Now, James is not writing the Declaration of Independence or the Bill of Rights. He's usually using one or two words or an expression, an idea, and that's all that's on his posters in his design. And he's designing this for book covers. He's designing this for posters. He's not designing this for you to read a manuscript because it would require too much mental labor. It's too intellectually demanding for you to figure out on any kind of long-term consistent basis. So you have to kind of weigh what is the intention and the goal of what it is I'm designing and mix that with the right approach. For the most part, 80 to 90% of what you do is going to be legible, functional typography. But if you follow all the rules, it's going to be really, really boring. Even Massimo Vignelli will talk about this. One of his famous quotes is something like, grids are like underwear. They're meant to be used, but not seen. So many people like put grids on everything and it's like, yeah, I get it. You understand Swiss design. Boring. You have to learn how to use all the notes. And sometimes the space in between the notes is the music. I'm borrowing from Massimo again.
Damn, that's a hell of a quote about the underwear.
He's good at quotes. I mean, there's a whole Massimo Vignelli canon, and I hope to learn all of them.
I love that it's a conversation and what tools and methods non-verbally or verbally, like I think of things in communication, are you using to convey the message? Like with James, it's the whole design is meant to be a mind game. Once it clicks, you're like, oh my God, I'm in the know. This is no longer an inside joke, right? Versus what you're talking about where you're doing book covers or manuals or whatnot. And there's like, you have to guide the person with the type. And I think that's just incredible.
That concludes part 2 of this. And I hope you found this to be enlightening in terms of how important typography is to you as a designer if you want to upscale. I highly recommend you watch this video right here where you can actually see me working through the design problem and see how these principles apply in real time. I hope to see you sometime soon. Take care, everybody.